Greetings everybody, coming to you from my 2014 Mercedes-Benz GLK250 Bluetec. We're looking at 162,425 miles right now, and I wanted to give an update. So it's actually been through quite a bit recently. So let me start with the easier, normal stuff. One thing that went wrong was my driver's door lock. They kind of pop up and pop down. It stopped popping up and popping down, and it wouldn't lock the door. And sometimes when it did lock the door, it wouldn't unlock. So they fixed that. And then another thing, for those of you who have seen some of my older videos, I've had a creaking noise coming from the front suspension for some time now. And it just kept getting a little bit louder and a little bit louder, and it finally got pretty loud. And you would mainly hear it going over low speed bumps. That's when it would be the most prevalent, just like a creaking, like a door hinge, but loud. So I actually had to ride with the guy at the dealership to demonstrate that for him. I've done a couple videos demonstrating that. If you're having a sound and you want to compare it to the one I had, this could be a solution for you. So the other thing is, everything in the front end was completely tight. There were no signs of anything loose or failing, and it passed the state inspection. And even the dealer looked at it. They said nothing is loose, but what they noticed, and I didn't realize this, the thrust arm bushing, that's the lower one that connects to the lower ball joint, apparently it's filled with liquid, and the tech was able to identify that some or all of that had leaked out. And even though it didn't cause any looseness, it was responsible for the noise. So after they replaced that, now it's silent. It's almost kind of weird driving this now, going over bumps and not hearing that noise, because I got so used to it. You know, it never felt unsafe or anything, but maybe it actually feels slightly better now. So the car's been at the dealership for a month. There's a whole series of stuff about that. Now I did another video where I actually showed the repair orders, but this one I'm just going to talk about it. Yeah, so pretty much the day after picking it up from the dealer, I'm taking it on a 400-mile road trip. The dealer's a little over an hour from me. I drove it home. It was fine. So it's really an interesting sequence of events that happened if you're into this sort of thing. So it all started with an innocent check engine light. And the check engine light was pointing to something that shut the swirl flaps in the intake manifold. I didn't even know there was such a thing. I don't know if that's technically considered the swirl flap motor. I actually thought these didn't have swirl flaps, the OM 651 4-cylinder engine, but apparently this one does. So they replaced that. Everything seemed fine. They were getting ready to bring it back to me. I have all this done at the dealership. I really like that dealership. They do a good job. They work with me, and their price is very reasonable. So check engine light came back on, same code. So they ended up opening a case with Mercedes-Benz. I think they call it the tips line or something like that. So they, just in case it wasn't covered by warranty. By the way, everything I'm about to mention was covered by warranty from the extended emissions warranty. I still have like 5,000 miles left on it. It's crazy to think that all this stuff I'm about to tell you was done for free. So they did a bunch of diagnosis, testing continuity of wiring and some other stuff. I read through it. It's pretty detailed. Everything checked out okay from the wiring side. So the next thing that Mercedes ordered was replacement of the intake manifold. So they replaced that, which is great because that's actually a common failure item on these. And so I got that done. They in the process of doing that, they somehow broke the fuel filter housing that has all the coolant lines, the one that's known to leak. So they replaced that for free, so I won't have to worry about that. So that's awesome. And what am I missing? I'm missing something else. Now that, okay, yeah. So that takes us to that part. So they reassembled all that stuff, and once again, we're getting ready to bring it back to me, and check engine light came on again, but this time for something different. Apparently there's a plastic arm that closes the EGR valve or bypasses the EGR valve or something like that. I don't know if they broke it during the disassembly or what, but they replaced that. So, you know, I'm guessing all this work would have been thousands of dollars. I tried to ask the guy how much it would have been. I didn't get a response. He might have been busy. Maybe he hasn't had a chance to reply yet. I may reach out and ask him again. My S350 is back in there. The oil leak turned out to be the oil cooler. I'm going to do a separate video about that because there's a whole background to that as well. So anyway, I've got it back. I've done so far about 150 miles. We haven't had any issues. No check engine light or anything like that. As part of some of these repairs, they actually ended up draining the coolant again. I mean, there was no way I could have known that was going to happen. I could have skipped my drain and fill that I did. I think it was last year. But it was on last year when I did the job. It was on the original coolant. So yeah, I'm really super excited to have this thing back. This is one of my top 5 favorite cars, I think, of all time. This actually, and the S350. Just something about these two cars just really pushes the right buttons for me. And I was watching to see if he was going to come over. So yeah, it's nice to be driving it again. And you know, as I'm driving it more, I do actually notice a slight difference in the handling with the replacement of that bushing. It drives like new now, you know, and that's actually typical of a well-maintained Mercedes. It really doesn't matter how many miles are on them. They can still feel and drive like brand new. And I mean, that goes way back. It's always been amazing to drive 100, 200, 300,000 mile Mercedes Benzes, and it feels like it just rolled off the showroom floor. So out of pocket in the 1 year I've owned this, not counting just regular maintenance, the door lock actuator was 6 something, and the replacement of the suspension bushing was 4 something. So let's call it, I don't know, let's call it $1,200. And then, you know, I did an oil change, I did a coolant change, I did a brake fluid change, and I did a transmission oil and filter. They ended up having to buy the pump for that, because the last time I tried to do it without, and it was a disaster. So let's say, you know, $1,500 maintenance and repairs for this, for the past year. I have had this over a year now. My gosh, I don't even, it doesn't even seem like that. So I've put about 18,000 miles on it in the year. And I'm probably going to pace about 20,000 miles a year on this thing moving forward. So for those who are interested, I will have several updates. But wow, that warranty really paid off. You know, there's still plenty of time to buy one of these with that AEM warranty. Or, you know, diesel Mercedes of your choice. Most of those jobs were done in 21 or 22, some later. And it's a 4-year, 48,000 mile warranty that covers a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, all the stuff I mentioned. Plus things like, I think, the cylinder head, the injectors, turbocharger, the charge air pipes. Just off the top of my head, it is super extensive. Sensors. There's some notable things it does not cover, like, wow, I'm getting a really strong smell of diesel fumes. That must be why. That TDI must be deleted. It does not cover most of the Bluetec stuff. I'm like at a loss for words right now. The diesel exhaust fluid. It does not cover most of those components. This car's already had every modern diesel. The DEF heater will fail, and replacement is in varying degrees of complexity. Sometimes you can just replace the heater on some cars. Sometimes you have to replace the whole tank. On this car, that job was done, I don't know, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, something like that. And, you know, as far as I'm concerned, it's due to happen again, unless they replaced it with an upgraded part. I've had to do that on, like, I think every diesel I've ever had, regardless of the mileage. Even my 540D with like 20-some thousand miles on it had that same problem. My Equinox with like 18,000 miles on it had that same problem. I think the one in this car lasted at least to 100,000. I have pretty much the full history on this car. Oh, and I was getting ready to say one upcoming thing that I have that I'm going to do on this car. It's on its original serpentine belt and all the idler pulleys and all of that, and original water pump. I actually have all of that. I was noticing the coolant level was dropping a little bit. You know, now in retrospect, it might have just been all along that fuel filter housing. And I just never noticed it because it would drip down and burn off maybe. Because when I looked around the water pump, I never saw anything leaking there. So the water pump is still fine after 162,000 miles. I do have another one. But actually, I'm not sure if I'm going to use that one, because I've heard that the upgraded replacement that eliminates the vacuum, which I think is the one I got, can cause problems. So here's hoping I never have to replace the water pump on this. I know it won't last forever, but yeah, we'll see. I keep my eye on everything. I always keep my eye under the hood. Oh yeah, also one thing that I can show for those who might be interested is I had to replace the or the hood release cables. Let's see, I can't tell if this guy's going to speed up or what. You know what, I'm just going to hit it and open her up a little bit. because I know the truck in back of me is in a hurry. But yeah, I actually took a fuel line, a fuel hose, and wedged it between the sensor that tells you if you have an open hood, because it broke when I was replacing it and it keeps popping off, and so it was giving a false hood open warning. So I just wedged that in there, squeezed it back together, wedged it in. I think I broke part of the plastic when I took it out, which caused the problem. But yeah, wedging that fuel line in there, it'll be interesting to see if it stays put. I wanted to put something under there. Yeah, I knew he was in a hurry. I wanted to put something under there that would be able to stand the heat and not get in the way of anything. I just folded it over. So if it's gone, then I know it didn't work. I've always tried to get creative solutions to things, and that was a creative solution to that problem. All right, that's my updates. Have a great day.